Welcome to On Power and Peoples with Renee Malay. The show is about depth of any conversation that will be held here, as real as it is, because we are about realness. Good day, everybody. Welcome to On Power and Peoples. I'm your girl, Renee Malay, and today, of course, as always, it's my G, my favorite. But what is G? G means girl, right?
G stands for a lot of things from a boy's point of view.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I wasn't
it
aware.
stands for a lot of things.
Make an example, just one, before we proceed with the
Gangster.
Oh, no, you're not a gangster.
Yeah.
All right. So I am with Amen Mayego, and we are going to be talking about the damage of separation. Yeah. We're going to be talking about the damage of separation. And I'm just so excited, as always, of course, because I really do believe that this is just a topic that we really should be talking about. Yeah. So how are you feeling?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm also great. I'm forever grateful.
I know.
And you look beautiful too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I'm nothing less than cute.
You are nothing less than cute. You on your side, you're already giving yourself a compliment.
I'm cute.
What a wow. All right. So, yeah, man. Have you been through a separation that has damaged you? That you feel like it has really damaged you psychologically, emotionally, physically,
And
all this.
all these elements. Well, to be honest, I have. I think we all have at some point, whether a lover or being separated from school, from your friend, from your, from all these this different environments that we consider to be very close, and we get very much affected in a bad way. Though after some time we get to the state where we're used to the fact that it has happened, and since it has happened, it's not going to affect us like it has. Now, but the most damaging thing that has affected me in terms of separation was when my parents went separate ways. So I was raised by both my mom and dad, and I got to be acquainted with two different energies, male and female energy. So when they separated, I really thought, how can such a beautiful thing come to an end? You understand? So, but then I had to sit and reflect and, really look at to exactly what happened without judging the father or the mother. Do you understand? So I was pretty much on my early 20s when this thing happened. So
Really? You were old.
yeah, I was able to decipher what could have went wrong at my own space of time. But then I was more, should I say, inclined to my mom's mental state and her condition than my father, because I was more closer to my mom than my dad. So now it has caused a lot of, I went through a lot of pain thinking about how this could have damaged such a beautiful soul. Do you understand?
Do you, because I think I went through the same actually, but with me it was different because I really was so excited at some point when my parents were separated and my mom decided to finally just leave the marriage. And simply because I realized the damage of them staying together and the effects that it had done in our lives.
Yeah.
So my dad was very abusive, and it just got to a point where physical abuse was like, oh, all right, so this is how it is in our home. So when they don't fight, you just even get surprised. Oh, how did it go a month without this? And then when there's a fight, then there's blood. There's just too many things. So it has gotten to a point where I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited that they're separating. But at the same time, I had an image of what a father should be, of what a mother should be, of what a family should be together, because you see those things around, you see families who are happy and you're like, oh, it could have been me, what I mean? So I think growing up, that has been like a scar in my life that I really had to go back and work on it, and heal from it as well.
I like the fact that you say it was a scar, not a wound. So it is healed.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You can continue.
It hurts. So it just got into a point where, as much as we were excited, of course, you had this thing of if my dad was around, if my mom was around, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But as a child, it really does affect you. But you don't really see the damage of it, because I think the only time you get to care as a child is when is when there's no food. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
But
don't look deep
yeah, you
into it.
don't
Yeah.
look deep into things. But when you grow up, it starts to really affect you, and you just like, oh wow, this is really has affected me.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know. And I think also with my mom, what she went through when she was going through a separation was, my mom had so much. She raised us as a single parent, so it's
Yeah.
like I have three of you,
Yeah.
and your dad is not around, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
stress, that depression, and as
That's
black
so
people, we
much
never got
workload.
to deal with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm just going through this, and I've been separated from your dad. So there was just never a moment where my mom was like, oh, now I'm at a happy place,
Yeah.
because she had a lot to do to provide for us while my dad was not around.
Yeah.
So growing up, you start feeling like you're probably not enough as a
Yeah.
child. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, why did he leave? And I started wanting to make him approve me that, hey, listen, we are worthy of you staying. Hey, listen, see us, recognize us. We are your children. You know what I mean? And there was just a moment where I really wanted him to see me as a child, to see me worthy of being his child, to a point that he stayed, to a point that he was responsible. So that whole separation really hurt us. It really hurt me. I just
Yeah.
say, it really hurt me in a sense that it has made me feel that I needed my dad's validation. So I'd
Yeah.
sometimes gotten to a point where I'd just lie, hey, listen, I remember one time I lied. I'm like, I'm gonna be on TV. So I wanted him to be proud of me, and I also wanted him to. I was very young. I was
You wanted
so
him to
young.
approve.
To approve me,
Yo,
to come be there for us. Like, look at us, we are winning. So I never wanted my dad to see the side of me where I get to lose, because I
Yes.
felt like he's still not gonna love me.
I get
But
you. Yeah.
when I do good, he's gonna come and love me. You know.
Yeah.
So that's just how the separation has affected me, as I realized growing up as a child. You know what? You really should not. Because here's the thing: you're dealing with a depressed mother who's going through it all alone, and then there's this father who's irresponsible. You know what I mean? And it's just that whole separation.
Yeah.
It's just so toxic, man. It's bad.
Yeah, I get
You know?
what you're saying. Yeah.
It's really
And
bad.
I think people can also agree with what you're saying, because at the end of the day, you see, as kids, you need your parents' validation,
Yeah.
because at some point you feel like you want to make them proud. So in your case, when your dad gave your mom space, so that also had so much damage on your daily doings, because you thought you somehow insufficient. Let's say if there
Yeah.
was an error
Yeah.
of some sort, or just a silly mistake. You
Yeah.
feel if he was part of it, it wouldn't have been
Yes.
how it is. Do you understand? So a
Yeah.
lot of people can agree with what you're saying, because at the end of the day, kids require, that's the purpose of of parenting.
Yes.
Matter of fact, to be together in everything. It's a
Exactly.
union. Matter of fact, it's a contractual means that there's people have, and how they should raise their kids. And kids require both mom and dad at the same time. Because if you notice one thing, if kids would grow with one-sided energy, they somehow lack some sort of respect or reverence towards the other energy. For example, a person or a boy, a girl who's been raised by the mother, chances are they would never understand the gravity of how they should conduct themselves
Yes.
towards male figure,
Yes.
towards male people. Do you understand? So now part of parenting also helps with that. So that's why I said when they separate, in my case, I was, should I say, fortunate that I was able to decipher what might have went on, because later on I had to ask both of them what really happened. So the type of responses that you get, you can tell that nobody wants to take the blame. But anyway, that's them. Now, that's how it has affected me. At some point, because I was closer to my mom, she was my drive factor. You understand? Whatever I did, I would think of whatever that she said. And the courage that she gave me and I knew I'm not gonna have this anymore. If I am to have this, I have to travel extra mile to go get it. So we were no longer close anymore because of the distance. And during that time, the separation was on. How do I say this? It was hot.
Yeah.
When I say hot, I mean
it was news.
It was very much new to a point whereby kids are supposed to step back and really have a very clear vantage point to say what's happening. Do you understand? So in that case, I personally thought, let me just give them space to at least find themselves in what's happening. But at the same time, the energy that I was getting from her was missing. To a point I had to now take it to another level. By this I mean try to find somebody of her stature, somebody of her nature to get that. But in essence, it wasn't the same energy.
So like in that way, meaning that you wanted to get that from your girlfriends, or from like a different person who was older, who was like a mother?
Yeah, I expected this from an older person. The girlfriend wasn't really that, because I thought she would be at later stage, not that would take forever for it will be unfair of me to expect the same energy from a girlfriend that my mom was giving me.
Let me tell you something before you continue. Sorry. This is one thing that I recently learned, and when I mean recently, I mean like 3 years back, that what I did not get from my father, I wanted. This is like a practical experience. That what I did not get from my father, I expected it from a man and from my partner.
Yeah.
So overall, I'd be in relationships, and the whole separation is that you become, at some point you become so broken that you go outside and start to seek healing outside.
Yeah.
And when I mean healing, you don't seek healing from therapies, you seek healing from being in relationships, from being in people, from
you
being
sort of like
people.
need vindication from people, so that your state of mind can be clearly be approved at some point.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So it was more like, all right, cool, this man never saw me as worthy, but I'm gonna get a man who's gonna see me worthy. But you don't check on what type of man must you get. All you're looking at is, I want to get someone who sees me as worthy of dating. You know what I mean? I want to be with someone that sees me of worthy of staying, that stay, don't leave. You know what I mean? But overall, it got into a point where I realized that I was emotionally
frustrated.
Because you get to be in relationships where you want what you did not get from your father, and you want it so bad that you have to be a partner. You have to be a partner. You must protect me. You must do all this kind of things. Yes, these are the things that a partner must come, but we need to check on what extent do they come it from. Like, where do we want them from? Do you want them because we want them from a partner, or because there's a missing thing that your father should have filled, and now you want it from the next person, which is your partner. That I believe that had that separation not been, there'd have been a difference in how I approach relationships. So it was like from one broken girl to the next broken woman, and then it's like it's mess.
Escalated.
You know what I mean? Because I really I wanted my father in my boyfriends. I wanted my boyfriends to do the things that
your father
my dad
could
never done.
Yeah.
And I think I realized when this guy did not do them to me, and I'm just like, why do I want these things from this guy?
Yes, yeah.
You know, why do I want him to do all this kind of things? And that's when I realized, I'm like, actually, I really would do well if my dad would do them.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't think of them as, this is your responsibility as my boyfriend, you must do them. But you're going to take them as, this is what he likes doing. You know, it's not like for us to stay together, you need to do this. For us to stay together, you need to close this, where my father has never been. You know, so it just got into a point where it really continued to damage me. You know what I mean? And it's just not only me as well. I think with people that they would talk about when separation, and you know, you've experienced being separated from people that you really love, on how it makes you feel as a person. You know what I mean? But however, I really want us to talk about the societal part of it, that when you start to separate with the person, and now you feel that this is the end of it, and then you feel that I might as well just die and not feel this pain. Ever been in that kind of a pain of a situation?
I've been to a point whereby I had a girl that I loved so much, and then we were separated by religion. Yeah, religion does separate people. Religion and sports
Yeah,
are the
well,
same.
that's true.
Going together to the same arena and watching the game does not mean we are of the same team. You understand? So I feel that religion also separates people at some point. Now, why am I saying this? Oh, religion separates.
One of the reasons why you broke up with your partner.
Yeah,
Suicidal thoughts.
it was religion, and at some point, I never had suicidal thoughts, but I really had a lot of questionnaire towards God and say, you know what, if it wasn't for this factor, I mean, we wouldn't be feeling this way.
Yeah,
Do you understand?
That's true. Yeah.
And what really troubled me was the fact that we both Christians, just that there's so many denominations towards Christian movement. So why can't we at least tweak? Don't you have power to tweak that? But I understood later why such things do happen. You understand? I think we want to talk about them next time. However, the pain that I felt was, this is somebody that I adored. I was like, this is the crown of this is my crown, the crown of my head. More than a crown, she was just a diadem. You know, there's a difference between a crown and a diadem. So she was my diadem, and I felt she's gonna empower me. You know, I've moved from what I was, like from the boyish type of behavior, and then she took it further to, you know, making me to be a man, and with both the energy of my mom and dad and other factors as well. So now when I lost her, I felt like, you know what, I'm gonna crumble, because she was my backbone at some point. I realized that growing up, you need a partner who's gonna sustain your mental state. So it's not a coincidence that we should have partners. So two brains are really better than one, and you understand this when you are in a serious relationship, that there are things that you cannot do by yourself. You need a partner to help you do that. So she was that to me, and I felt that, you know, we're gonna build future together. So the vision that I had was so long, was, you know, it was expanded.
Yeah.
So when we went separate ways, I somehow lost that vision, and I felt this is not gonna happen again. That's how I felt. I was like,
so
you know,
went through loss instead.
yes, not
Okay,
suicidal thoughts, because suicidal thoughts comes with the type of effect that it has on you. So my effect was not of that nature, but I felt like, you know, the future that I thought I planned, it has gone, it has vanished in a blink of an eye. So what do I do? What's the way forward? Do you understand? So you know what that leads to? You become promiscuous.
Oh yeah, at some point.
Because now you feel devastation. So with devastation, you just want to let go of everything. And how do you let go of everything? If you get to interact with a lot of people in a very bad manner, because that's what leads to being so much promiscuous. Because if you think, I'm going to go from A to B, from B to D, and so on.
Yeah.
So you're not getting, you're not really reconstructing your vision, but you are damaging yourself within. Until I came to a point of like, I was like, no, focus. The fact that it has vanished does not mean.
Would you say that outside, through the whole devastation, you needed that to heal? Or it was something that you did because you just feel like, I'm not going to get. But anyway, it's also part of being hurt. But do you think that you dating those people, it was more of, I want to heal. I want to get somebody who's better than that, and just heal?
No, it wasn't a matter of healing, but it was a matter of forgetting what I thought I had.
Also, you used promiscuous as a way to forget what you had. Yeah,
just to forget completely what I had, because now thinking of what I have lost, it was tough for me to really comprehend that, am I really going to get this again?
So that's part of healing.
Well, would you call that healing?
Yeah, if you're going to use something to forget, then you're going to use it to numb your pain. And when you want something to numb your pain, that's when you go through a process where you just feel like, I just want to heal. Because as soon as you start healing, you no longer need those people.
Okay.
You know,
because with me, it was a matter of, I just want to forget that I lost. But at the same time, I had an introspection, but I didn't want to venture into that chamber of change and say, this is me, let me wreck myself, let me recreate, let me erect the vision that I had. But it was a matter of, how do I forget this?
So that you do what? When you forget that, it was so that you do what?
Now, because I wanted to forget, I wanted to find myself in that space again, that I am capable of envisioning what I had.
So you wanted to heal?
call it healing if you can.
Wait, why do you deny that process of healing?
Okay, but
because we heal differently. I want to get to that point that we heal differently.
You're right.
And just because you probably consciously never wanted to use that as part of healing, but you wanting that to forget about your loss was also part of your healing, because you wanted something that is going to make you forget of what you lost, meaning that you wanted to use that so that you can forget of what it feels like to lose it.
Yeah, but what happens when you continue doing what is not really helping? Is that healing or causing more damage? Because it was causing more damage until
it was causing more damage, but you do it because you felt like you needed to heal.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like
Give me a high five. Give me a high five. Give me a high five.
All right.
There we go. Thank you.
So I think I went through that moment, but one of the things that I respect about me being a Christ follower is that I have gotten to a point where I've gotten out of the relationship. It was a 7-year relationship, and I'm just like, this is the end of me, like you felt, and I'm just like, this is the end of me, but this is what I want. I want a partner who's going to marry me. So I started fasting for marriage. I started praying for marriage. I started wanting all those kind of things so that I can be in a process where I forget
Jesus
as well
Christ,
of what it feels like to be left, of what it feels like to want to have a child with somebody, because it was my baby, and I'm like, what it feels like to have a child with somebody, and then they separate with you. So I wanted to go through that process where I'm just like, I don't want to go through this again. God, give me a man who's going to marry me. So I started shopping for men. Right? I started looking, I started wanting those people. I started wanting to get into those relationships.
Deeper window shopping.
And even so it's like, it's the same thing with what you went through, you know. So it's like you get into this relationship, you're like, they don't want marriage. You get into the next person, they don't want marriage. You know,
stuff,
and the only thing that you want is marriage. And the only thing that you want, the only reason you want that marriage is so because your partner can see that I've lost something. Look, she's not married. And that's the thing that we get to be told when we go through separation. That, they're going to forget. You're going to find someone who's going to love you, who's going to marry you, and is going to regret. But truth is, people don't. There's just a moment where people regret losing you, and then at some point they don't regret losing you. You know what I mean? So it's like you do some things because you want to prove people wrong, or look at you lost me, but look where I am right now. So you're no longer doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the next person, so they can see that, listen, yes, you broke up with me, but look at me, I'm surviving. You know what I mean? But what does the real you want? What does the you want? Does the you want to be in this marriage? Does the you want to be with this person? Does the you want to, because had God answered my prayers when I wanted to get into marriage, because I wanted my ex-partner to see that I was worthy, I would have been in a very messy marriage. Because I was not ready for it. I did not know the purpose of marriage. But I wanted to get into it because I wanted to prove him wrong, that I'm worthy of being married. You know what I mean? I'm not worthy of being dumped, you know? So that whole, psychologically, it really damaged me at some point, where I felt like, listen, am I really worth it? And my self-esteem, your confidence, you know, that's the thing about separation, is you lose yourself first of all. And some people lose themselves to a point where they want to kill themselves. They don't see any reason to live outside the relationship. It's like, how am I going to survive when I'm separated from this person? How am I going to make it through the next day when I'm separated from this person? Because there's a person that I thought that I will never live my life without. You know what I mean? But I think also it's a matter of having to trust what God has for you, and also seeing yourself as how God sees you. Because when you see yourself how God sees you, there's relationships that you wouldn't be in, and when you're not in those relationships, you won't have to go through separation.
That's
you know what I mean? So you don't have to encounter that pain.
So that's right, because now I would say that's one of the formulas or the formulae, as English would say, that can be given to people not to jump into conclusion. You know, I met an old timer not so long ago. He gave me a very good advice. He was like, let's talk from a boy's point of view. And like, we men, he's like, no, boys. So he said to me, as boys, we desire and lust so many girls. That's boyish. And he said, men don't do that. Men have purpose. When you go for a lady, what's your purpose? And not just silly purpose, but definitive purpose in terms of man's point of view. He said, if you feel that you're lusting for a girl, rather not go there, because the implication might be worse and damage you. go there because you have a very definitive purpose. That should anything happen, you will stand the heat. And as a man, you'll be able to sustain what you have started. Do you understand? So that's also one of the passages that, I'm not saying complete formula for how to avoid pain, because pain and pressure are one of the things that we cannot really be trained to handle. But when they happen, we have to have, should I say, rooms on how to let go of it, to heal slowly. So that was one of the antidote that he gave me. He said, men don't just go for ladies because they last them. They go because they have a definitive purpose. So have a very much solid purpose that should anything happen, let's say in this case pregnancy happens, are you going to take this person, or are you going to be part of the stats that's going to complain about women not being okay? So that's like you transition from who you are to becoming a misogynist. So he was like, avoid such, go for purpose. Know the purpose that you have as a man.
Yeah.
So that a lot of complication might not happen, because that becomes part of the stats at the end of the day. Do you understand?
True.
So I was really moved within that if there are old men like this who speak so much sense to young men, so we're going to have a lot of manpower from people like him. And definitely that's going to sustain the
Because I think also what you're saying with the purpose, I think that one thing that we are raised in black communities is that go for a woman who's beautiful, who's worthy of being a wife, and meaning that who's wife material. So how she dresses, how she cleans in the house, because men get to see that, oh, okay, cool. She's able to take care of my mother. I might as well just marry her.
Yeah,
but what is the
capable.
purpose behind all of that? You know what I mean? That are you dating a person because now they're pretty? Are you marrying a person because now they're pretty and they've got a nice booty and they fit into the standard of wife material, or you know what I mean? So that also can make an effect on how we onto avoiding separation.
Yeah.
You know, because the more we separate with people, the more they take something out of us.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? That also is so hard to repay. You have to go through a lot of self-work to repair what you've lost.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
true.
I mean? And like we've said that we were with parents who were separated. Of course, they lost themselves in that whole process.
That picture, yeah.
They lost their visions in that whole process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the most damaging thing about separation, I'd say for me, it's losing your vision as well. You know, like you said, losing your vision, losing yourself as well. You know. And also having to embark societal thoughts.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
But what's the other reason actually that you feel like this has really contributed, that this damage has really contributed to the separation, has really contributed to the person that I am when I probably see myself as a whore? Because guys, separation is so horrible.
Yeah,
to a point that you see people who are doing drugs, and that's because of separation.
Yeah.
They did not know how to deal with
the post-traumatic stress and everything
exactly.
really damages people, like you said. Suicidal thoughts is part of it, and medical attention as well, because if you pay attention, this after separation, people change. The diet completely changes. And if the diet changes unwillingly, that brings a lot of sicknesses. Now, depression kicks in. Because remember, depression is a state of a concentrated stress. Stress is minor, but depression is more concentrated. So when it gets more concentrated, you are allowing a lot of deficiencies. So if deficiency takes place, it doesn't become depression anymore. It gets to oppression. So you become oppressed as an individual. So what is it that oppresses you? The thoughts. As time goes on, you move from oppression to possession. Now there's stress and all that. They possess who you are. So when you walk on the street, that's what we see. You understand? Somebody steps on your toe, you jump. Why? You are now oppressed by the thoughts that you are unable to, should I say, detox out of your system. And that affects health condition. So it's not really a surprise when they say somebody has separated with whoever that they loved, and 2 months or 3 months down the line they're in ICU, or they're in a very critical state. Why? The body is not longer functioning accordingly. The neurological system has been disturbed. Do you understand? So now, in all that, we really have to have, this is how I can say it, in a way that prepare, not really prepare, but would make room should separation happen, because it happens that there's so much contrary maneuvers in life that separates people. That's there if you don't fix it, or if you don't really propel it. So as I was saying, that we really have to have platforms that are going to teach us on how to make a room so that we'll be able to vent out from the post-traumatic stress that we have, or what has really not been conducive to our mental state.
You know what's the thing, right? Because I'm not too sure if we do have psychologists in public hospitals, but there's a thing about people thinking that everything is for people who have money. There's no such a thing that a therapist is for people who have money. A therapist is for people who need mental health help. You know what I mean? That when you're at a state where you know that you need help, and I think going to a therapist is a step of self-awareness, that you get to see that something is wrong with me. I need help. So most of people that we are surrounded by in Kasi, they feel like, oh wow, I went through this, and let me just go around date 100 girls, let me just go around date 100 men, you know what I mean? And then things are gonna be fine. But that's more damage as well. So you're letting that one breakup damage your whole life, you know what I mean? You're making that one breakup to transform your life in a way that you also never wanted it to be like. You know, so just because that one person left you, just because you separated from this person, it really does not mean that it's the end of the world. But it means that you need to be aware of how do I deal with this, and where do I go? So seek help, you know what I mean? And don't be scared of seeking help. Just because the relationship with the person that you think that you were going to marry ended, it really does not mean that you're never going to find anybody else.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just means that were not for you. But however, if you don't have to look at yourself and be like, oh, I'm a mess. Oh, I'm ugly. Oh, he left me for this kind of a person. And now you become so obsessed with looking at this girl's page, and you just like, look at her. What does she have? And then now you grow this jealousy in you that you can't even breathe. Like, you know, you're oppressed by the jealousy right now, you know. And then you look at your life, and then now you start wanting to leave how the other girl leaves, you know what I mean? And you step out of your purpose because you want to see that, oh, what you left me for is not worth of what I'm becoming. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna become better than her. So it's you start being in competition with somebody.
So that's death by comparison.
Yeah. So you die to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you also have to be so aware of yourself that I'm really not coping. Can I go seek help? I'm really not coping. All right. If you are so scared, because sometimes we do get scared of telling people that the relationship never worked out, and you feel like, oh, they're going to see me as a failure. I've went through so many breakups where I just feel like, oh my God, my sisters, my mom, they just like, go, it ain't go lost. We know you, we trust you. We know, you know. So it's like, because I date for purpose, you know what I mean?
That's correct. I love that.
Yeah. So when I get into a relationship in a week, I don't think I even lost a month. When I get into a relationship in a week or 2 weeks, and I don't even see where we are going, and what we've had discussion of, it's not even where, you know, when you see the actions that this is not what I want. You know what I mean? But you step out of it quickly before you invest too much of your time, because when you've invested so much of your time into something, that's when it really damages you. You know, that's when it feels like, this is the end. So don't be scared of really going through a breakup and then having to care of what are people going to say. You know what I mean? Because as I have said, there's people who we become such different people once we go through breakup. But be a better version of yourself, you know, and not for him, not for the other girl, but for yourself, you know, so because so that you can heal. You are in no competition with anybody else, especially with your feelings, especially with what hurts you. You do not compete with pain. You do not compete with how am I going to look what the next person is, how am I going to look tomorrow? I have to be better than this person, and at the same time you're hurting. So be so aware of your emotional being that you get to know that this needs healing. This does not need competition. My heart needs healing. You know what I mean? And of course, go to God for guidance, because honestly, you are still going to go through breakups if there's no God in it, first of all. And if you go through it, there's still no God in it. So you're going to be a complete mess. You know, so
that's very much deep and thought-provoking, I must say.
Thank you.
And if I were to say the last thing to the viewers, to us, and to myself as well, because I realize that life is really challenged, right? We are all challenged from one angle to the next. But then this is how I think it's befitting for the rest of us to sustain it. Can I be a bit biblical?
Yeah, you can.
The Bible in the book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 8, it's just a very nice blueprint there. It talks about thinking, right? It says, think about good things. Think about great things. Think about admirable things. Think about everything that's okay and lovely. So it actually makes you to have a very much wonderful introspection, and as you think through good things, your body becomes much better, because that's what meditation does. Remember, meditation is good for the soul. So when you meditate on good things, your soul gets revived. So medicine is good for the skin, but meditation is good for the soul. And the spirit is good. The Spirit of God is good for your own spirit. So when you think, you are regenerating your thoughts, and your soul gets healing. So think of everything that's good.
I think with what you're saying, I honestly do. When I go through breakups, and there's something that really brings me so much hope, is thinking of the good that is ahead of me.
Yeah.
That and works. You're like, I'm going to be great.
That works. Ever thought of that beautiful mansion?
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to live in a mansion. Why am I not being stressed by this
Ever thought of how your baby's going to graduate?
You know what I mean? Like, you think about so many things, and they just give you so much hope of.
Ever thought how
just step out of this.
Beautiful kids are on the park playing there?
Listen.
And being fed by you?
Listen.
It's good.
You think about all these beautiful things. You think about the promise that God has made to you.
Where you're going to
be. You know what I mean? And you're just like, yeah, I'm ready to go through this separation.
So now that heals the soul. So that will be my last word for the viewers.
Yeah, man. I mean, don't go around and thinking of. I think here's the thing, right? If we go through a separation and we don't even know the reason why we're going through the separation, we just only know why we are separated.
Yeah.
But you don't know the reason why you are separated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get to a point where you feel that anybody can have you. But there's something about healing, and there's something about trusting in God that reminds you that the reason that I went through this is just because nobody can have me.
Yeah.
So you have to realize that you're not going to be compatible. Yes, and you're not going to be compatible with anybody else that comes into your life that claims that they love you, that claims that they want to be with you. But you're going to be with a person that has a purpose in your life.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you have to know also that you're not going to attract that when you're still in pain, because when you're in pain, you don't see clearly.
Yeah. And you attract the factors which you are.
Exactly.
So when you go out pretending that you're okay, you attract pretense. So
you're going to date people who pretend like they're okay.
For sure.
While they're a mess inside. So it's going to be
sure.
like a cycle that just never ends.
Yeah.
But again, I think that it's important also to love yourself so much. Love yourself in a way that you understand that, yes, I'm hurt. Yes, it never worked out. But I'm better. I'm a better person, and I have purpose in my life. You know what I mean? So breakup should not make you feel less of a person. You know what I mean? Because you're so great. I don't know who you are that's going through separation, but you're so great. And just because you broke up with your partner does not mean that you're any less of a human being. It does not mean that you're not beautiful. It does not mean that you guys but you are. You're not going to find anybody who's better. But it just simply means also that you just have to go back and work on yourself so that you can attract people who are better, So you don't have to go through the same pain. Because nobody should go through separation. Like, it's not nice to be separated.
Nobody is designed for pain.
It's true. True. I'll just put
That's
it like that.
Yes.
Nobody's designed for pain, so you don't want to see yourself into that pain. So we're just gonna end it here, man. Thank you so much.
Thank
man.
you very much. And the world needs more people like you, I must say.
The world needs more men like you, so we don't have to go through this pain.
We all need each other at the end of the day.
Because honestly, this men are trash type of thing that is just going out in there. We are just so bitter people, and listen, men are trash, but it's so good to have men with purpose. You know what I mean? Who knows that a woman is not a pill to a medicine to heal.
Yeah.
A woman is not something that you can use so that
It's
you
not
can
an
forget about your
object.
pain.
It's
not a drug. A woman is not a drug that you should use.
But
so
until
that you
we
can
all
forget.
get there, we shall all understand. And there are many men out there of the same state of mind. And shout out to them as well. Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? We thank you. We thank you so much. Thanks again for watching on Power and Purpose. It's your girl Renee Malay, and we are saying bye. And this is yo Ayman Mayeko. You can find him on his Instagram as Ayman Mayeko.
And all social platforms.
Yes.
Yep.
I am Renee Malay on Facebook. I am Renee Malay as well. So on Twitter, I am Renee Malay, Renee_Malay. So thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends. And of course, comment. We would want to hear more of your opinions. What is it that you went through? What has breakup taken from you that you feel that it has really damaged you? And what are you currently doing to heal from that? You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it is what it is.
All right then, bye-bye.